What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Journeyman Sports Podcast. Been a long, long time since saying that, but it feels very good to be back. Cade and I have been talking a lot throughout the NFL season, and we felt it was just right to get you guys back in the mix as well. Super excited to be back. Big episode today, episode number 39. Getting into it with our Journeyman Sports top 10 kind of hierarchy list for the NFL. So, without further ado, we'll get right into it and we'll start off with number 10, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Kate, if you want to take the lead on this one, I'll let you go.
Yeah, man. First of all, super happy to be back. Hopefully, we're coming back with a vengeance, bro. Really miss doing this. But with the Eagles, reason why we have them at number 10, and I think, something that's important to come in with the great with the mindset on the team as a whole is they have the best roster in football. I think that, there's no debate when you look at it on paper. They have the best roster in football. They should be winning a lot of games, but for whatever reason, I don't think they've put all the pieces quite together yet. I think the offense has just been very stagnant, even though, we've seen pops from Saquon, we've seen pops from Devontae Smith. Haven't quite gotten AJ Brown rolling yet, which has been an interesting storyline that's developed over the season, but just haven't seen the pop from the offense that we wanted to see. And then, that defense is only going to be, bend not break for so long until they can't hold up late in the game just because they've been on the field for a long period of time because that offense can't stay on the field and sustain a drive. So I think having them at number 10 is very valid just because even though the roster strength may be there, the play on the field hasn't been.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the things, kind of like Kate hit on, they're still the best roster in football. They still have wins over teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we'll talk about later in the show, teams like the Chiefs, Cowboys, Rams, lots of teams that are just outside of our top 10 and are teams that are fighting for playoff spots that we'll see throughout the year. A lot of teams that are probably going to end up making the playoffs. Passing game, still a big question for them, but ultimately I feel like they've got enough guys in there. They've done it before last year. They went through the adversity, they went through these kinds of things, and they always came back on the back half and really ended the season strongly. So we got the Eagles at 10. Definitely they're on a bit of a down right now, but this is also just we're projecting out a little bit, but we still think that's a team you wouldn't want your team to be playing in the moment. So that's why
It
they made
it
our list.
And I think it will shift. Obviously, I think they'll climb back up, as Garrett said, towards the end of the season, as teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles, top contenders seem to do. But as of right now, with us heading into Week 7, that's just how they look. So we have to call a spade a spade. Um,
Exactly.
I definitely think I should let you lead off with number 10
Yeah.
being who they are, or
So
nine. Sorry.
number nine, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people view it, comment, whatever, get after us, but we got my Jacksonville Jaguars. Number nine might not be the most amazing team, but this is not your grandma's or even your mom's Jacksonville Jaguars anymore. Under Liam Cohen, there's a whole new system, a whole new culture in Duval County, and I think the Jaguars with the 4-2 start could argue they really should be 5-1. They gave that Bengals game away in week 2, but a lot of the stuff I've watched every game. I caved, bought the NFL Sunday ticket just so I could watch the Jags. But despite the deficiencies of watching them sometimes for my mental health, a lot of their mistakes are just things that I think as the season goes are going to fix themselves. A shit ton of pre-snap penalties. I mean, I don't think I've seen more illegal formations or illegal shifts called in my life than watching these guys in 6 games. Stupid little offside penalties, easy things to correct that as this offense continues to go, as Liam Cohen continues to build his offense and build really the foundation of that, I think a lot of these things are going to correct themselves. And that's why we have them at number 9. They have some really good wins already this year. and then just have kind of beat themselves some of the times, and that's sort of the frustrating thing. But maybe the
Yeah.
best defense in the NFL as well, which I was not expecting coming into the year.
They look really good. I think, my analysis, I haven't watched every single game, but I've watched, two or three games this season, and I think number one, the thing that's going to really put them over the edge is it looks like as every game develops, they're learning how Travis fits into that scheme on both sides of the
Hmm.
ball a lot more. He's starting to perform a lot better as the weeks go on, and is starting to look like the draft pick that he's supposed to be. Not saying that he ever wasn't. I just think, obviously there's those little rookie speed bumps that you got to kind of get over before you can really show out on the field for some guys,
Especially
and
when you
so
do both sides as well.
especially, yeah,
Yeah.
especially both sides. And I you saw that in the Chiefs game where he had the huge catch down the field. Like he started to have those moments. He had a couple pass breakups on the defensive side of the ball.
Hmm.
So I think as that develops more, they're going to be getting a great player on both sides that's going to fit really, really well. And I think the coaching staff is also just really learning how to use him,
Yeah.
and having a player like that, him really being the first player that's been able to do something like that in the same game. But then also just it looks like as the weeks progress too, and it looks like a different Jags team than definitely what it was last season. I think Trevor just has to keep slowing the game down, and I think he's doing a better job of that as again the weeks progress and as he grows more in the league. But
Yeah.
slowing the game down just because, me and you were even texting about it early in the Chiefs game. Like he cannot go back to early years Trevor where he's trying to play hero ball and bail them
Hmm.
out, and especially when there's no need to do that early in the game. So
Yeah.
I think as long as they can clean those little things up, they should be there in August when we're talking about playoff or yeah, and we're not August in
The beginning of 26 when we're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the football with the playoffs.
contenders, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the playoffs, and I think heading in that direction. But as you said, the defense looks great,
Outstanding.
and getting Trevor or getting God Trevor, getting Travis there sooner rather than later is only going to help that defense even more. So
And I
I'm
think
excited to see.
especially the emergence of Brian Thomas coming back into this offense. Not really sure what had happened at the beginning of the year, but these last 2 weeks, it's looked better with him. Still had a bad drop on Sunday, but I'm not giving up on him yet.
Not just yet. And I
Yeah,
mean,
he's a
you
dog.
we see guys like QJ coming back this year from seasons of bad drops. So it's like
Yeah,
it'll be things that players go through earlier on in the career. Jamar Chase had bad drops early in his career. I don't know if
he
anybody
was supposed to be
remembers
the worst
that.
football player of all time
All
after the
right.
first preseason.
So I
So,
think I think, whether it be a sophomore slump or whatever it is, I think over time they'll continue to find that rhythm.
yeah. And moving on to number 8, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-1. They've got good wins. They won a tight one against the Jets, which that's not necessarily amazing, but with how the Jets played in that game, that was a good road win. A win over the Patriots and a win over the Vikings are kind of their best to start the year. This is a team we really fumbled around with a lot on where to put them. I think as of right now, just from our call before this, I'm a lot higher currently on the Steelers than you are, but we were
I
able to
just
settle them in to number 8 on this list.
I think my holdback with them is like number one, depth is a main concern, and I think as we get later in the season, that will be more of a glaring concern for them. Number two, it seems like the defense is really the thing that propels them in every game, as it's always been for the Steelers, but like the offense is better. Don't get me wrong. It is definitely better than what they've had in the couple years past, but it is not contender level. And I think
Hmm.
what it kind of reminds me of is the 11 and 0 Steelers team that like from a couple years ago where everyone was like, okay, they look great like here and there, but if you're really watching them all the way through the game, it's a
It's a
lot
bit
of
rough.
it's a lot of dink and dunk. It's a lot of, small plays here and there. It's a lot of, oh, this call going their way, this call not going the other team's way. And it's like they're sliding out of these games.
Hmm.
And I think, they have that pedigree, they have that veteran pedigree in there now with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think. that alone is going to be what gets them, through the playoffs and really
Yeah.
makes them a contender in my eyes. And as I was saying to you before we got, to start doing the video and started recording, like I think it is just a lot of, F it, let's find DK out there somewhere.
Yeah, which will work up
Oh,
to a certain point, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So,
right. And it's like we've seen, flash games from guys like Calvin Austin, whatever, but it's like if you can't find and sustain that offensive consistency all the way down the stretch, we've already seen what's going to happen
yeah.
late year to the Steelers. So it's like as of right now, yes, they are number 8. They continue to win and continue to perform. We'll keep them that way, but I don't see them being number 8 heading into the playoffs on our
Yeah.
list personally.
I think this is a team that definitely could slide, but like we said, for right now, you can't really keep them out of the top 10. And it'll be interesting to see too. Their defense has not been outstanding up to this point this year, which is usually something that those guys hang their hat on. So I think if the offense can just stay consistent, kind of like it is right now, and that defense gets up to speed, maybe towards the back half of the season, I expect this to still be a team that ends up making the playoffs. But for right now, they're holding strong at number 8. So next up to number 7, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers, which they've had some up and downs these past few weeks.
Yeah, but as the story has always been, it's injuries, man. I think, a lot of where they fall short is just injuries. I think the coaching's great. I think Justin Herbert is still great. I think, we've seen guys like Quentin Johnson step up, who was hurt, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen guys like that step up this year. We've seen flashes from Ladd, of course. Ladd's still doing his thing. The offensive line looked great before Alt went down, before, it,
Sean Slater.
yeah,
They've lost
before
both their like all Pro Bowl tackles, and
it, which
that's been a big hit for them.
you lose Najee, like
Marion Hampton's on IR now. Like
it's one thing after another. So it's
side
like,
note with the injuries real quick, whatever fantasy like experts said that this Haskins dude was going to be the lead back, screw you guys. It's about to lose me in my fantasy game this week. Unbelievable that I got it so wrong and they did too. Like
it's okay.
just
I
wild.
started I started Tyquan Thornton this week,
Yeah.
so it's all
Side
right.
note, as I'm watching Jaden Daniels just slowly kill my team in my hopes of taking over first place. But anyways, continue with what you were
Hey,
saying.
I just think I think the Chargers, when fully healthy, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL. I
Hmm.
would take them over the Chiefs this year. And I understand Rashee Rice is coming back for the Chiefs and they have a lot of strength in their division with the Broncos. And the Raiders really don't look too bad in my eyes either. Yeah, they're a young team, they're getting it together, but it's also, you got you got a aging Geno in there, you got Pete in there. We're not talking about the Raiders, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
the division is high level contention, but I still consider them to be one of the best in it, if not one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
And I think, the only thing holding them back is health. And it seems to be the same story year in, year out for them in the 49ers. I don't know if they need to hire a new doctor or what, but
Something.
something
Something's got
needs
to
to
change.
yeah, yeah, it's insane. Get rid of the
Yeah.
turf, man.
Yeah.
Golly.
And I got to say that that drive they had with Justin Herbert to get them to that win over the Dolphins, while, the Dolphins are not exactly contenders or anything. I think despite all the injuries, despite all those things, that's a moment you could build off of and get some momentum, especially them losing the 2 straight before that. I think that's a really big moment for this team moving forward to continue to
Yeah.
build off that. And they have wins against the Chiefs and the Broncos. Like those are good teams. Again, just outside
Mhm.
of our top 10, probably on a lot of people's, but Chargers team, if they could just stay somewhat healthy and not have the wheels fall off, not going to be a team that you want to see come December, January, and February, at the end of the
Mhm.
season in the playoffs. So moving on to number 6, the team that just scalped the Jaguars, just dominant performance from the Seahawks. They're our number 6 team. This, I honestly could see them winning their division this year. I think this was a team that did not get a lot of talk. Sam Darnold coming in at quarterback. Still not sure whenever the other
I
shoe
mean,
might drop with him for
but
this
but
season, kind of like we saw last year, but they've got a top five receiver in the NFL with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Absolute
JSN is
animal.
that dude,
He is
man.
that
He is
guy.
that dude, man.
Unbelievable what he's done this year, especially what he did on Sunday. But that a really, I think, competent defense, especially the defensive line, Jaguars O line, not exactly the standard in the NFL, but for them to get 7 sacks and pressure Trevor Lawrence on 56% of his dropbacks on Sunday, just a ridiculous stat to do that to any O line in the NFL. This is a very competent team, just solid all across the board, well coached, solid quarterback, and I'm really excited. I think this is one of the teams that just kind of flatlines. I don't think you're going to get a lot of this year. I know one of their only losses was to Tampa Bay, and I'll have to check who the other one
I
was.
mean, it. But if you
Only
look at
lost
it,
to Tampa Bay and to San Francisco, and they were on the goal line getting ready to score when Sam Darnold got strip sacked. So I mean, this team is a play away again from being 5-1, and I'm really high on this team. I think this is a team you should buy stock in if you're a bettor or whatever. Buy high on these guys to do well for the rest of the year.
I think it also just goes back into, like Sam Darnold has been talked so much about in the media, so I really, I don't think it needs to necessarily be covered, but the resurgence has been real for sure. But it's also you look at the number one, the system he's playing in compared to what he was playing in with the Vikings last year, it's very similar, but also the way the team is set up. You have a good running back, you have one to two good receivers. You have a solid O line, you have a good defense. It's kind of the same story as what you're looking at with the Vikings. And I'm sure, looking back at it now, the Vikings probably wish they would have kept him, but um, that's kind of besides the point. And I think if he can continue to even just play Daniel Jones level football this year, he'll be fine.
This year,
Um,
Daniel Jones, just to be
yeah,
clear.
yeah. This year, I think if he can, just be a game manager, I think they'll be fine because you got Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet that have both been serviceable, good running backs this year. JSN, as we said, has been out of his mind, like beyond anyone's comprehension of what anyone
Yeah,
thought he was gonna do. I like Elijah Arroyo over there as a young tight end who's done some good things. I like both of their tackles. I think their
shout out
tackles
AJ
just haven't been
Barner,
healthy.
Indiana Hoosier.
Right. And then as you said, their defense is stepping up to play. They have a defensive head coach there now. So, if the offense can complement that down the line, I think, as you said, buy
Really good
high.
team.
Yeah, buy high.
Yeah.
Especially in that division that doesn't outside of the Rams, I don't think doesn't look that great right now. So
Niners are doing well, but they're just completely ravaged by injuries at the moment. So be interesting to watch the Seahawks as they continue on this year. But moving into our top five, and at the five spot we have the Green Bay Packers. 3-1-1. They were after 2 weeks, they were the clear and obvious Super Bowl pick. Everybody couldn't get enough of them, but kind of settled back in, fallen back down to earth a little bit. But still, in our opinion, one of the best teams in the league.
I mean, it's Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love. That's really what that team and do not respect my or disrespect my man Romeo Dubes, man. Romeo Dubes has come out of nowhere and been a monster this year. Tucker Kraft has also looked like a top tight end.
Yeah,
To start the year, he had a huge touchdown yesterday. So I think as long as they just continue to roll with that offense, their defense will continue to pick up the pace, especially with Micah over there now. The only problems they really have is just in that secondary, and as long as we figure those out, we should be fine.
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see just what they do going forward. Like we talked about with the offense, it's predominantly with Josh Jacobs. They're run heavy, that's their identity, which typically translates well going into the postseason. But I'm really interested to see how that receiving core continues to develop. They've been the last few years, and I mean, they are from top to bottom, I believe, the youngest team in the NFL. And they're continuing to build that receiver core with the guys that they draft, the guys that they like, and taking that sort of receiver by committee approach, I think has suited them well. And as those guys continue to develop, it'll be really interesting to see just what kind of highs that offense can hit, anchored by
Hmm.
a really solid defense, like you
And
talked
it,
about with Micah.
yeah, I think they just need to get good corners back in that room. I think, although Baltimore hasn't been anything to talk about this year, Jair has. I think letting Jair go was a big mistake, and I think they're realizing that with the corners that they have over there now. But I think that can be made up for, especially with the trade deadline coming up. Who knows what will happen there. So.
Yeah. And then
Let's
that, yeah,
move into number four. We can. I think the Bills are definitely an interesting team to talk about. That's why they sit at number four. The power, the strength is definitely there. All the weapons are there. It seems like they can really put it together whenever they want to, much like the Eagles do. I just think they have played steps above the Eagles at least to start the season.
yeah.
And even though the roster may not be as strong when you look at every facet of the team, I think, having Josh Allen, me personally, I'm taking Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts. That's no hate on
Oh,
Jalen Hurts.
I think everybody's right there with you.
Yeah. But I think, having a guy like that on your team, having a good to solid enough defense, and then having receivers that are starting to stand out, like Keon Coleman's had a couple big games this season. Khalil Shakir has always been a solid option. Dawson Knox is standout.
James Cook
Don't,
working his way up to probably a top five running back in the
right?
NFL right now after getting
Don't,
that new contract is big for
Dalton
them.
Dalton Kincaid has taken some steps this year and really
Yeah.
become a good tight end. So I think, as those pieces continue to get put together down the line, they're only going to get better. I think that again, they've shown, yes, some weaknesses here and there, and they may not, be the strongest early on, but I think as we go down the stretch, they're going to be a top three, top two
Yeah.
team.
I think it'll be really interesting to me. You touched briefly on Keon Coleman. Not had He's had some big games, but he's kind of gotten blanked. He got blanked tonight against the Falcons. That was a tough loss for them. 24 catches, 237, two touchdowns. I think he's the guy that really can unlock this offense, and it's going to be super important for him to play well. I think I'm not going to say obviously that, this team in the offense go as Keon Coleman goes when you have Josh Allen,
Mhm.
but definitely a guy to watch. If he can take that next step and really start to hit on some of that potential that they drafted him for, I think it could be a big move for
And
them. But I think they should look, we touched about the Eagles and their offensive struggles. I would make a call and see what it might take to get one of those two receivers because if I was another AFC team, especially like Jacksonville, hoping to be in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden Josh Allen's throwing to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith or you name X good receiver that might be on the trade block.
Chris Olave.
Yeah, a Saints Rashid Shaheed even getting one of those guys like getting another receiver. They tried it with Amari Cooper last year, didn't work out unfortunately, but I would like to see them take a swing on a receiver from another team, make a move and see
And
what can
they're
happen.
They're in a standing to do so. I think that the thing with Keon Coleman too is there's definitely been something in the locker room going on because they came out with a report saying they had him out of the first quarter of a game 2 weeks ago for some disciplinary action. So I think it's just, they got to get the locker room side of things on track with him, which he does seem to be a loud personality. So, that can always be a conflict, as we saw with Stefan Diggs over there. But
Yeah.
if we can solve that issue, I think he can be a top talent in the league. We just gotta start throwing him the ball a little bit more and get things in the locker room together, and I think we're good.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about number three, my man. The Lions. I think everybody loves the Lions. That's the thing. Like I don't think there's really a Lions hater anymore unless
Hard not
you're
to like.
you're somebody in their division, I guess.
Yeah.
Um great coaching, great defense, good offense, as we've seen, Amon Ross St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, all these guys, that they have Sam Laporta. Don't sleep on my guy. Like everybody seems to be putting it together. Jared Goff has been the absolute man since he went to Detroit. The offensive line is good. Really, on paper, there is no reason they shouldn't be contending for a Super Bowl this year. They should at least be in it. Um, I think for us at top three, we could see them at a top two spot by the end of the year for sure.
Hmm.
As it's kind of been the last two seasons, they just have to figure out how to put it together late in the season.
Yeah.
That's really just been the biggest concern for this team. I'm not concerned about the coaching. I'm not concerned about really any glaring holes on their team. I haven't really seen one, to be fair, except Brian Branch maybe not being able to contain himself after a game.
Yeah.
But
It was a tough look for them.
but if they can just get the little things together late in the season, they're going to be a perennial Super Bowl contender for years to come.
Yeah. But you kind of hit it all on the head. I just wanted to bring a little bit of a statistical backing to what we're talking about. Like offense, second in the league, averaging almost 32 points a game. They've scored the most touchdowns in the league. They don't turn the ball over. They're 29th in turnovers. Their defense, getting after the quarterback, fourth in sacks. They're sixth in takeaways. They give up some yards, but they're opportunistic defense. And tough loss, obviously, to the Chiefs last night or on Sunday night by the time you're seeing this, so 2 nights ago. But I don't know. That one doesn't really bother me a whole lot. I think that was a game. I kind of have this phrase. I've talked with my friend's dad about it. Whatever. It's a game Kansas City needed to win, and it's a game that Detroit would have liked to win. And I think
Yeah.
sort of that differing of energies in that played a big part. Being at Arrowhead, it's a game Kansas City's. They want to get back above 500. Going to 2-4, going to 2-4 if you're Kansas City in that situation is really hard to come back from, especially in that division like we talked about. So with Detroit, I'm really not buying into this whole idea that started at the beginning of the season when they lost to the Packers and the Chiefs. Like those are two, I'm not
Top
going to
10
say,
or damn near top 10
yeah,
teams.
like
Yeah.
it's not something if you're a Lions fan, I feel like you're like, oh my God, the season's over because we lost to the Packers and the Chiefs,
It
both
could
on the
be
road. Like
it could
they're
be a
going to be
whole lot
okay.
worse. You could have
Yeah,
Spencer Rattler
exactly.
at quarterback, bro.
That could always be worse. Uh,
Um,
That brings us to number two, which is not the team that I claim, but it is the team from the city of which I reside with the Indianapolis Colts. And not exactly did I expect them to be number two going into week 7. I did expect this team to be better than what a lot of analysts, different things like that, people were saying. But man, this team is just really freaking solid all across the board. Best running back in the league, really good group of receivers, solid O line, a defense that I don't know, I'm still not sold on personally. I think there's some things that could be exposed throughout the season. I still don't think, despite their high pressure rate, they don't convert those into a lot of sacks, which you can debate pressures versus sacks, what's more important, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this Colts team not played the greatest competition. I will say that, but I think it is important to respect them. Like this is a good team. Daniel Jones is playing very good football. He's doing what they need him to do in order to be successful. And I don't think the Colts are going to stay here all year. I don't really think a lot of people do, other than maybe the people in the Colts building. But this is a really solid team. Going to be most likely, be them and the Jaguars competing for the AFC South. And this is a team you probably just don't want to play in the playoffs. Like I said, it's just hard to find a glaring weakness for this team.
if
And that's why they're at number two.
if Jonathan Taylor can stay healthy, and
Watch out.
if Indiana Jones could keep being Indiana Jones, man, they are gonna that's really my biggest thing. I just want to see what's it gonna look like when Daniel Jones is really in a high pressure situation, like a playoff game on the line or in the playoff. Like, what is that gonna look like? Or late in the season when we gotta go get one or something like that, is he gonna look the way he looks right now? Because right now he looks confident. He looks like he's wheeling and dealing. He looks like there's really no issue at all when it comes to any of that. So I think when it comes to any really facet of the game, but he also has the best running back in the game to just hand the ball to and kind of do his thing.
That's never gonna
Um,
hurt you.
and yeah, that'll never hurt you ever.
Yeah. And that brings us to number one, which I don't think anybody's really gonna beef with us on this one, but we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Baker, man. Baker
MVP.
Baker looks, and I watched the game yesterday too. He looks phenomenal, bro. And I'm not just saying good for Baker. I'm saying top. He looks like the top quarterback in the league right now. I haven't seen Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar or anybody doing what he's doing right now. And RIP Joe Burrow. But I really have not seen a quarterback playing at the level that he is, and especially with receivers that have been constantly hurt and like playing here and there. I think he's making, the next man up mentality look very, very good.
Oh yeah. He's made chicken salad with chicken shit a little bit with some of the injuries, especially in that receiver room, but it'd be really interesting to see when they do get healthy, just how good that offense can be. I mean, 27 and a half points per game. They're having almost 250 passing yards, 6 in touchdowns scored. They also do not turn the ball over a whole lot, which it's really hard not to buy into this team right now. The defense
And
leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's just a really good team. And Baker's playing like he's the best player in the NFL right now.
and when they get Godwin, when they get Mike Evans back, when they get, is it Buka out for the season?
I don't think so. I think he just tweaked a hammy or something in the
Okay.
game. Cost
So
me
he's
some money there, but I hope he's feeling better.
he I think as long as they get him back or they get everybody back and is Bucky coming back next week too, I think.
I think he
They're
should
about
be
to get
back
their other.
soon.
Yeah, so Rashad White, they'll have Bucky Irving. Like they should be healthy down the stretch, and as long as they are healthy heading into the postseason, they could be a favorite.
Yeah.
Especially if Baker keeps playing the way he's playing. I mean, we haven't seen this level of football from him yet. And a story that I think has been under talked about when it comes to Tampa has been Todd Bowles. If anybody remembers like early career Todd Bowles, he was not looked at as a very good head coach. But that man has climbed the career ladder and punched his way back to the top of the weight class when it comes to coaching.
Yeah.
And I think that deserves a lot of respect. He's gotten a lot of coordinators hired as head coaches as they've come out of that building. So I think Tampa's definitely a team to keep an eye on for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. And that was our top 10. Let us know in the comments if you think we're complete idiots, if you think we're geniuses,
We
probably
love
somewhere
both.
in between. Yeah, we'll take whatever, you guys have to say. So, thank you again for watching. Like we said, it's really good to be back on this. Hopefully we can start churning out stuff with some more regularity. I think we both are kind of at a point now where there's some time to do it. We both want to do it. So, hopefully we can get some, positive feedback and results from these type of things, and we'll keep doing this. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been episode 39 of the Journeyman Sports Podcast, and we will see you guys next time.